Houston, are you ready? BGBB, BGBB, BGBB. How can we already be 4 songs in? Hello, babies. It's so good to see all of you. Yoy! I say! BGBB has been working hard for you, proving to ourselves. Our project over the last 4 months has been very personal. Babies, we've been on a journey to find ourselves. And after scouring our souls to find who we are as performers, as musicians, as artists, as humans, as bodies with souls, we went on another journey to love ourselves. How do you find yourself? How do you love yourself? Is it even possible to love yourself? We tie so much of loving ourselves to other people and things. What a dare it would be to declare our own love. Can you love yourself even for a day? Even for an hour? Even a moment? Ngozi Ukazu is an up-and-coming YA graphic novelist to watch. She hit the scene with her webcomic Check Please that was later kickstarted to massive success and was very well received. It's about a gay hockey player who struggles with his identity, the kind of anti-homosexual culture that hockey often can be, and his own budding romance with another one of his teammates. That sounds a little familiar. I wonder if somebody ran with that idea to massive success recently. She later followed that up with a graphic novel called Bunt, which is set in a fictionalized version of the Savannah College of Arts and Design, where the main character loses all of her scholarship money because of a clerical error and has to start and win a few games as a softball team in order to get financial aid so she can keep attending this college of her dreams. She has written for DC with the Barda graphic novel that I actually own and have signed. I met Kazu at a free comic book day event last year, so that was pretty cool. And she's going to follow it up with a book on Orion, covering 2 of the most popular of the new gods. Maybe she'll do Mr. Miracle someday and make it a trilogy. But we're here to discuss Ukazu's most recent novel, Flip, which is a fascinating story about a classic body swap scenario, but with maybe a little bit more political and personal relevance. If this is your first time to my channel, let me say welcome. My name is Steven, but you might better know me by my superheroic alter ego, Spike Stonehand. And this is my channel, Divining Comics, where I explore the magic hidden between the panels of your favorite comics.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality.
Thank you for watching this video. I am doing this as part of a year-long series that I have designed because of my love of comics and because I want to share my love of comics with the broader comics community and people that might be interested in comics but don't really know where to start. Right? I love all kinds of comics, from your classic superhero stuff from Marvel and DC, your independent stuff like Image and Vertigo, your imported stuff from France, Japan, and all across the globe. Right? I love all sorts of comics, and there are so many different kinds of comics that I want to see as much as I can, and I want to share that love with those who are interested. So in order to do that, I have designed the Divining Comics 52 Comic Challenge, and that is every week I'm reading a comic from a different selection of categories designed to expand my knowledge of the global medium of comics, the breadth and depth of comics, the history of comics in an easy, digestible format. And I would love for you to participate. There's a few different ways you can do that. The easiest would be to click like on this video, share it with a comic book friend in your life. Both of those help it with the algorithm and help it with the find the community that would love to watch this video. You can subscribe to my channel so you never miss an update. And if you have read any comics recently that are off the beaten path, or something that you think I might be interested in, should check out, hey, leave me a comment below, or just tell me how you like this comic if you've read it, if you want to check it out yourself. You can also find my writing over at my blog, spikestonehand.com. I do weekly new comic book buyer's guides, so if you're going to buy comics, you know exactly what the most interesting titles by my taste are every week. You can also have a weekly roundup of comics news links and to reviews and news items that I think are interesting every week. And I'm also trying to keep up my writing, doing things like an annotation of the series The Wicked and Divine. All of that you can find at my blog, spikestonehand.com. Finally, if you'd like to support the channel financially, go over to patreon.com/dividingcomics. Throw me a few bucks. Hey, I'll put your name at the end of this video. Why not? All right, commercials are done. Let's dig into this comic, Flip by Ngozi Okazu. And if you're me, the first thing you noticed about this comic is that it is set in Houston, right? Houston. This is the minor league baseball team logo. Right? I live in Houston. I love Houston. And the author, Okazu, grew up here. She went to Bel Air High School, which is an enclave within the broader Metroplex. It's a very diverse part of town, and Houston is a city known for its diversity. By some metrics, it is the most diverse city in the United States. There's tons of different migrant communities from all over. That's what makes it such a great food city. But this comic is set there, right? It's set in technically mostly a suburb that's made up, but it's near Humble, which is a real suburb to the northeast of Houston, and set as a fictional private school, boarding school, where Houston students attend. Our main character, her name is Chi-Chi, and she is the daughter of Nigerian immigrant parents. And so, tying into that kind of Houston theme of diversity, and I think also very much to Okazu's own personal life. And it's about her struggles at that school. She's awkward, she's shy, she's nervous, and she's got a crush on Flip Henderson, who is the rich sporting swimmer white boy who doesn't even know that she exists, right? And Chi-Chi very awkwardly asks Flip out to the equivalent of prom at this school, and he turns her down in front of the whole class. She is devastated. She runs off, very emotional, and through the magic of plot contrivances, she passes out and wakes up in his body, and he is in her body. Your classic body swap scenario. But it has the added twist of the one character being very much infatuated with the other character not knowing that she exists, and then the third level, obviously, of the racial dynamic, right? With a black girl who is, the daughter of immigrants, switching bodies with the rich white boy. His family, it says, is his dad was a very prominent financial person. As you find out in the story, he actually was somebody that was convicted of fraud. So Flip himself is even though he is a wealthy white character, he's dealing with his own struggles. And I think that's one of the strengths of this book is its care for the characters and its care for the premise. You could very easily see a book like this not take that core concept seriously, not look at all of these different elements of, okay, what would it be like to swap places with somebody of a different race and gender than you? That would be incredibly confusing, disorienting, strange, and difficult. It would cause all sorts of ethical questions even, and those are not shied away from in this book, right? There's a whole sequence of debate about as to if Flip in the body of Chi-Chi can brush her hair, right? Or if because he doesn't have the knowledge, the know-how, how to do it, how is he supposed to upkeep her hair? At the same time, Chi-Chi in Flip's body has that knowledge, has that experience, but optically it might look weird for a white boy to come and start braiding this black girl's hair. So this book deals with all these issues front on, and I think that's one of the major strengths of this story. On the other hand, this isn't a master's thesis on the issues, right? It is a novel intended primarily for a tween audience, I would say, maybe young teen, and it's not going to give you the most crazy in-depth analysis of these issues of race and gender, but it does actually deal with them, which I think is all you can ask for in a book like this, right? It's not a book intended um, to be adult in that way, and it doesn't deal with these issues in an adult way. It deals with them in an age-appropriate way, and I think that's a real strength. Chi Chi is a huge fan of a K-pop group, CBGB. She and her two friends, who also go to the school, who are also the only some of the only minority children at this prep school in the Houston suburbs, and they're all have bonded over their love of this K-pop group, which is a very real feeling detail. I know that as something like K-pop Demon Hunters has blown up, that this more and more people are realizing just how big of a force international pop music, especially K-pop, is among young girls. And it feels like Ukazu definitely did her research, getting into the subculture. It just all feels very lived in, feels very real, and I think that that's exactly what you would want in a story like this. Is it lives and dies on the characters, not necessarily the resolution of the plot, and it delivers in spades on that. And so this concert that they have to go to, that's this kind of towards the end of the book, right? And so they're trying to figure out if they can solve this body swap situation before then, so that Chi Chi can go to the concert as herself and not in the body of Flip Henderson. And so you kind of explore the different dynamics of it, the scenario, how is it different than your normal Freaky Friday. They actually switch back and forth every once in a while, and they've got to figure out the pattern of when it is they're switching and for how long. So it kind of goes through and explores this premise in a lot of different ways. And like I said, I am just a sucker for any story set in Houston. I think there's one other, as far as I'm aware, major comic book story set in Houston, and it's when Spider-Man's clone. No, not that one. The other one, the lesser of Spider-Man's clones, becomes the local hero of Houston for a little bit for an arc or two. There's a funny bit where he's trying to web swing, and Houston doesn't have any skyscrapers outside of downtown, and there's nowhere for him to web swing, so he has to take the bus. And, it's an okay comic series, but this immediately skyrockets to probably the best comic set in Houston, as far as I'm concerned. If there's any other Houston-based comics, I would love to read them. So let me know about that in the comics. But they visit fake Whataburger. They go to Galveston for a day. It all feels, like I said, very lived in, because this is a lot based off of Ukazu's real experience, and I guess what she doesn't know, maybe she researched and looked into. And continuing what is well done in this story is the art. It's very in line with Ukazu's previous work, if you've read any of that. It's very in line with a lot of the YA storytelling that you'll see. It's simplified drawings, kind of bold, poppy colors. It's not going to have the crazy panel layouts of some of your very high-end Marvel and DC comics with artists like Hayden Sherman or J.H. Williams III. It's going to tell the story really well, really competently, and it kind of a meat and potatoes, but really good meat and potatoes, like maybe like a nice steak or something, and creamy mashed potatoes. It's not reinventing the wheel; it's just doing what works and doing it well. I think one of the cool artistic touches of this book is trying to figure out the problem of how do you show who is in whose body at what time, right? If one character is, especially because they switch back and forth a few times, how do you know, is this Chi-Chi in Chi-Chi's body or is it Chi-Chi in Flip's body? There's a few different ways that the art does that. I think the best is through the very subtle eye color, right? If Flip is in Chi-Chi's body, his blue eyes switch over to hers, and if Chi-Chi is in Flip's body, her dark brown, black almost eyes switch over to his body. And in the afterword to the book, Ukazu calls out that this is an homage to the Toni Morrison novel Blue, and I think that that's just a really nice, subtle visual touch to let you know who is who in a given scenario. They also, in more abstract sequences, will have hypothetical masks, right, where they're putting over. So, Chi-Chi will have her flip mask that's half off to let you know that it's really Chi-Chi in Flip's body. A lesser work would only do that through the dialogue and writing, but Ukazu, I think, really cleverly is able to show that visually. So in a given scene, you're never not sure who is who. But at the same time, it's still very subtle. Moving to wrap things up, would I continue reading this? Obviously, it's a standalone graphic novel, but would I keep reading Ukazu's work? The answer is yes. YA stuff in general, I'm an adult, and it's not necessarily my cup of tea. That being said, I still have enjoyed most of what I've read of Ukazu's, and I'm looking forward to reading more. My favorite of hers is the Barda graphic novel that she did, so I am really excited for the Orion one coming out soon. And I would definitely continue reading anything that she puts out. Who would I recommend this for? If you're a big fan of Freaky Friday body swatch stories, this is a really well done one that's told, I think, slightly elevating that premise beyond other YA fare like Freaky Friday because of the gender and race dynamics that are at play in the story. Obviously, if you like stories about teen girls, if you're like looking for good stories about the Black experience in America, about with written by and drawn by Black women, and with a target audience of Black girls, this is a great example of that. And hey, it's set in Houston. It's going to be a good comic. Thank you for watching this video. Like I said, please like and subscribe. Share it with a comic book fan in your life. Tell me about your favorite comics set in your home city, if there are any. New Yorkers need not apply. We know all the comics are set there. You think you're so special, but any other comic that is set in your place of residence, tell me about it and tell me why it's great, or maybe not so much in the comments. Next week, we should be moving out of the romance month of February into Magazine March. Well, I have not yet decided which magazine I'll be reading, but I have a few options ahead of me that we'll see which one I choose next week, which comic magazine I'll be reading. Until then, thank you for watching, and never let the magic of comics die.
Old Enoch, he lived to be 365 when the Lord came and took him back to heaven alive. I saw the light from heaven shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw that light come down.